All right, welcome back, everybody, as we get going here. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. Excited about the show today. We got a lot going on. In fact, Alberto Urueta is right across the glass. He is with us right now, all decked out in his Miners basketball short sleeve hoodie that he got from Goodwill. He still brags about that today and how excited he was. He calls that the greatest UTEP haul ever. Just goes to show you something, folks. Just out of a job, there's a chance that they're going to donate all of their college gear to Goodwill or Savers. So you probably want to time it right. But maybe if you show up a week or two after that person's been let go, who knows? Maybe you'll end up with the haul of the century like Alberto was able to get. Because you're all decked out wearing team-issued gear today.
Yeah, I have this one, and I believe 3 other pieces, all on-court stuff. I cherish it with my life, so definitely extremely lucky, and I love the things I own.
What'd you pay for that stuff? Like, how much?
It's 3/4 zips in this one, and I paid $50.
For all of them?
For all of it.
So 4 items, like $12.50 a piece.
Yes. I saw that they had a listing on OfferUp, and I was like, hey, do you guys still have this? And they were like, yeah, I don't know what we have, but go check it out. It's here. And I went, and I cleared their rack out of UTEP stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. I
Good
didn't
for
even
you.
feel bad. Didn't even feel bad.
You should feel great. That's the way to do it. Adrian, we're learning a lesson here from Alberto Urueta. That's for sure.
The big lesson is you got to pop in and you've got to, like, this is just a random moment, in my opinion. This is calculated by Alberto. It's consistent work by him, and that's why he finds the good thrift stuff for UTEP stuff.
That's right. Hey, I'm proud of you. You did good.
Thank you.
You did good. All right. Hey, I'm looking at what's going to be a busy day today in sports. A lot going on. God, I hope Del Valle is able to go to Midland and escape with a win. How great would that be if they could beat Lucas Lovejoy?
That'd be awesome, man. Jake Fetty, Shelton Fuller be able to come back with the win. That would be amazing. We've been talking about it for a while, how the lack of success for El Paso teams in high school playoff football. So if Del Valle could just extend it for one more week, that'd be amazing.
It would be. Hey, by the way, I don't even know where Lucas, Texas is. Do you? Is it right outside of Dallas? Is that where we're talking about?
Lovejoy. Are we talking Lovejoy?
Yeah, Lovejoy.
Yeah, Lovejoy High School. This is out of, I don't know, the Dallas ranks? Yeah, I believe it's out of the Dallas ranks. Lucas, Texas is what you were, I think, just saying right there, Steve.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think this is kind of close to Dallas. Am I kind of close to being right? I'm not too sure.
I heard it was near Dallas. I don't know. Lucas, Texas. Anyway, it's good stuff. Good stuff as we get started here on the program. Hey, by the way, we've got also a huge show today. So we are going to chat with Carlos Lopez, who is the Spanish voice of Tennessee football. Who knew that Tennessee broadcasts their football games in Spanish? And he's going to lead us off at 6 o'clock today.
Yeah, it's awesome. I did see it, I believe, a year and a half ago that Tennessee started broadcasting their games in Spanish, and I saw one of their calls, and it was a sea of orange, and the voice was going absolutely bonkers. Kind of reminded me of John Teicher, just in Spanish. So it's extremely exciting to be able to kind of connect the dots here and just get to know him.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be great. So, listen, I'm excited, too. In fact, it's going to be a fun 6 o'clock hour, getting the lowdown on what to expect tomorrow from our Spanish broadcast team. And then the Foss at 5. He'll talk what is becoming a pretty depressing weekly subject. Let's be honest. Cowboys football right now is depressing. I wish I had uplifting news for Cowboys fans as they try to break their slide in Washington this week against the Commanders, but I just don't feel good. I really don't feel good.
Yeah, I feel like all Cowboy fans right now, Steve, are just in a pit of misery right now. And I would feel that way, too, if I was a Cowboy fan. I really think this is time to tank. Tank for Shedeur, tank for Travis Hunter. If you're going to run it back with Dak, you're going to go with somebody like Travis Hunter instead. But you saw what the New York Giants did today. They are going and they are willing to eat dead cap in order to cut ties with their franchise quarterback, or quote-unquote franchise quarterback. And Daniel Jones assumed a lot of responsibility. I want to jump into that conversation with Foss in the 5 o'clock hour to get his thoughts on that and how maybe that could foreshadow what we could see in the future with Dak Prescott if things don't go well here next year, because it seems like that's going to be his final chance with the Cowboys.
Yeah, but it was listen, here's the deal, all right? Dak, they're totally different situations, and here's why. They owe Daniel Jones $160 million. And that was the original deal. It was 4 years, 160. He signed that last March. So if somebody claims him this year, they're going to be on the hook for $12 million for the remainder of this season. But the Giants just got out of the last 2 years of his deal. Like, they're never going to be able to do that with Dak because he's getting $251 million of his $260 million guaranteed. That's the hardest part. You can't, if you cut him, you're on the hook for everything. And you don't want to do that if you're the Cowboys.
So after next year, Steve, they would be on the hook for $62 million in dead cap in 2026 and then $34 million in 2027. So you're a math guy. I'm not. That's close to what? $100 million right there?
Yeah, plus they owe him everything. He's getting paid his whole contract, whereas Daniel Jones is not getting everything that he signed with the Giants.
Yeah, no one's going to take him, by the way. I just wanted to make that clear. No one's going to take Daniel Jones in this waiver process. Maybe he's picked up in free agency. That's going to be where he gets his next shot. But, the Giants right here, they're showing that they're willing to eat some of that dead cap. I'm wondering if it gets so bad in Dallas at any point that they would be willing to eat that kind of dead cap, $100 million. That's what it would be after next season for Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I seriously doubt that. In fact, I'm looking at Dak, right? Dak, listen to this. Dak, $47.7 million next year. That's his base, okay? $40 million in 26, $45 million in 2027, $55 million in 2028. Good Lord. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. I don't know. By the way, you know how much dead money Dak Prescott is? You know how much dead money for the Cowboys Dak Prescott's contract is if he gets cut before June 1st, just for the sake of it?
Like this year?
No, total.
Okay, total. Are we talking over $200 million?
Close, like 151.
Wow, that's terrible. That's so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll never get to that point, right? I mean,
No,
right?
Never.
Right?
Never.
Okay, never. Okay, we're on the never train right there. They're at least going to run it back one more year. They owe it to Dak. You talk to people in that locker room right there. I know fans will just roll their eyes and say, "Oh, it's over with that." But if you talk to anybody in that Cowboy locker room, it's still Dak's team. It still hasn't really become Micah Parsons' team just yet, Steve. He might be the most talented. He might be the best overall player on the Cowboys, but it's still Dak's team right now, and maybe that earns him one more year of this.
I don't see how. I know Jerry's worth a fortune, and I know Jerry could do it, but I just don't know if I ever see Jerry doing what we're talking about. Ever see Jerry doing what we're talking about. Just don't think it's possible.
They might take a shot at a rookie quarterback instead, let him kind of go into the system, and then they'll just eat that cap that Dak will have, and he'll be, a really overpaid backup quarterback if that ends up being the case. I'm just thinking the worst case scenario after next year, because you're also talking about Dak coming back from this injury.
Like, I'm looking at the cap number for Dak's contract. You know what the cap number is in 2025 for Dak?
What is it?
Almost $90 million.
Yeah, that's awful. I mean, that has to be just said. That's got to be the worst contract next year. No problem.
30% of the team's total salary cap in 25. 23% in 2026, 20% in 2027.
Yeah, there's got to be some restructuring there. That has to be done. I mean, that leaves the Cowboys in no place for roster flexibility in 2025, Steve. So things could get actually worse for the Cowboys, not better.
It's awful. It is absolutely awful.
Oh, and you traded your 4th-round pick for Jonathan Mingo, who's not catching anything.
Yeah,
not
how's
playing.
that work? How's that working out for the Cowboys right now?
Terrible
How's that
move.
doing?
Yeah, that was awful. Come on, Jerry.
Hey, great snow weather yesterday in the second half of the
man.
Pittsburgh-Cleveland game. We got to love that.
What a game, Steve. Jameis Winston taking the nation by storm right now. I mean, that game was must-see TV. I love that fourth quarter. The fact that Jameis threw himself into the end zone, the fact that he was like on that post-game post-game show forever with Ryan Fitzpatrick and all that team, Richard Sherman. He's hilarious. I love Jameis Winston. I'm all in on this Cleveland Browns team that's 3-8.
You're right. He was fun. He was fun. Should we play some of that clip for you of Jameis from yesterday?
Yes, we need to.
Yeah, he was definitely worth the. Listen to this. This was Jameis after the game, holding like a large stuffed teddy bear, walking away. Here, this also went viral thanks to the NFL.
Ever get in now?
Snow, let it snow. The Cleveland Browns got some more wins, baby. Let's get it. I just got to tell you, buddy. I just got off Amazon, and I'm probably about to go and order a dub off Amazon. It's going to get here to my house by 9 o'clock tonight. That's how fast it is.
I love it, man.
Man, oh, man.
He's such a national treasure, Steve.
That is awesome. He is. He is. He's great. And by the way, I mean, it's his first snow game, and it was his first snow win. How about that?
1 for 1.
Yep, and if you're a Steelers fan, you can't be happy. That is the last thing you wanted last night, to lose in Cleveland.
Yeah, now, out of your 3 wins, 2 of them are to subpar teams that you really wish you could get back. So, yeah, it's extremely disappointing. My favorite part of the whole Jameis Winston thing, haven't heard you guys talk about, the pregame interviews. Those are the better ones, where he's just like, they'll ask him very straight-up questions about the game, and he'll be like, unwavering faith and nothing else. And that's it. That's all he'll say. And that's hilarious. Makes for must-watch television.
All right, I think you're talking about this. Here you go.
You have said you don't become a Brown until you beat the Steelers. What will it take tonight?
The horse is prepared for battle, but victory comes from the Lord. So I'm dependent on the Lord.
Is that the message to the team?
Day by day, one play at a time. That's the message.
Weather conditions tonight. We're expecting winds up to 15 miles per hour in a wintry mix. How will that impact your ability to throw the ball?
I am so happy and grateful that the Lord has blessed me to play in some snow, to be in true football weather in Cleveland, Ohio at Huntington Bank Field today to give him the glory. It's a beautiful day.
Sure feels like you're playing in the AFC North.
It is. It's magical. Thank you.
There you go. Oh, my God. Jameis is, when they asked him that question, he was smiling ear to ear and just ready to give that answer. I mean, how do you not root for a guy like this?
I mean, going from Deshaun Watson to this, the misery that was Deshaun Watson, all the baggage that has come with him, and the disappointment. You talk about bad contracts. I mean, Dak Prescott's a bad contract, but Deshaun Watson is like a historically awful contract. The horse is prepared for battle, but victory comes from the Lord. Are you kidding me? Jameis Winston saying this kind of stuff on national television?
And then after the game, he had the whole crew making snow angels in celebration of the Browns win. So he had the entire Thursday Night Football crew from Amazon dive into the snow and start making snow angels.
I'm all in. I love it.
Let's leave all this extracurricular out of it. Leads a drive down the field, scores, breaks his helmet in the process, loses communications. Do you guys see that?
Yes.
Doesn't have comms, goes for the 2-point conversion, converts that, a great catch on that. So it's just like, yeah, he's all these awesome and funny things outside, but on the football field, what he's giving the Browns fans is hope and something that Deshaun Watson couldn't give them, good football play and these wins over the Steelers.
Yeah, he balled out
Yes,
for
he did.
Cleveland. That's big. All right.
Yeah, loved it.
17 past. We got a lot to cover over the next 3 hours with you on a Friday. But when we come up next, you're going to meet the brand new technical director of El Paso Locomotive FC. And I got news for you. He's not their head coach. First time they've ever gone this direction. We'll do that next, right after Charlie 1 with traffic. All right, back here on Sports Talk 23 past the hour as we continue. Excited about our next guest. He is the brand new technical director for El Paso Locomotive FC. And as I mentioned earlier, he is not their head coach. First time this has happened since the team formed. Ray Sari is with us right now, and we get to meet him for the first time. Ray, good to have you here. And for somebody who's been in El Paso now for almost 2 years, it's great that you get the opportunity to take on this expanded role with the club.
No, absolutely. No, first of all, thank you for having me. I very much, I'm excited to be here. This role is new to the club. Obviously, like you said, I have been here for 2 years, going on my third year now. And, it's when I got the chance to be a part of this club, I jumped at it. It's known for being one of the best clubs in the league, both in a success standpoint, but also in the resources that we have, the ownership group, the fan base, everything like that. So it was a very appealing place to be when it came calling.
You are less than 10 years removed from your college soccer career, but you went to the pros right out of that. You've been in the game ever since, and you probably feel like you've spent so many years in this sport, you know it inside and out right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's always something to learn, right? You can. I learn more and more every single day. I have been around the league for a while now. Obviously, I was in the league after I left playing at the University of Tulsa. And, it's a growing league. The league, from when I started in the league to now, the league has grown so much in a lot of positive ways. It's a fantastic league to be a part of.
Tell me what it was like growing up in Kansas City, and how big is soccer as a sport in Kansas City?
No, obviously, being in Kansas City, it has a Sporting Kansas City, an MLS franchise. It's known for being pretty successful, and soccer is huge there. Footy is huge. I think it's actually similar to El Paso in a way that people don't understand how big the city actually is, especially with the suburbs. And we talk about how big the borderland is here. So there's footy everywhere, and it's a great city to be a part of if you're in footy.
I was going to ask you, growing up as a kid, is soccer really the top youth sport out in that area compared to, let's say, football, baseball, basketball, and some of the other traditional sports we see around?
I would say I can't say that soccer is the biggest, I don't think. I think that it is growing probably at a faster rate than the other sports are. But I would say Kansas City. There's a lot of baseball. Obviously, we have the Royals. We have the Kansas City Chiefs. But it's a sports city. People love sports. People love competition. There's a lot of land there, so there's a lot of fields everywhere. A lot of nice facilities now around the city for all different sports. So,
Ray, when you first arrived, your job at the time was Individual Development Plan Coach, and they call that IDP. So It sounds to me like you were really trying to take maybe some of the younger talent and help prepare them for going up to the big club and eventually being able to play at the pro level. Was that pretty much a good indication of what it was like, at least to start here?
Yeah, you're on top of it. The Individual Development Program is designed basically to help younger players who are trying to integrate into the first team, help their development, right? So we've talked about it a lot as a club, where there is this weird period between where a player goes from being a very good academy player to being a starter at the first team level, right? And a part of that period that makes it hard is that they maybe don't get as much attention in a regular team training session as they would maybe in an academy session. So the individual development program is built to basically give them that attention that they need. They're smaller sessions. I work with them more on a one-on-one basis, maybe small group, two to three players at a time.
Yeah.
And say, hey, we're going to break down what the coach was asking you to do. Let's get more and more reps of this, because maybe they don't get those reps in first team training, or the coach can't stop in the middle of first team training to guide them through for 2 or 3 minutes this little movement, that they don't get or something along those lines. So the club introduced this role. It's become a very big role within MLS over the past 4 to 5 years with their reserve teams as well. And it's, obviously a big focus of the club is helping develop young talent. Especially, we live in a very unique situation where we're in a talent-rich area of the country.
That's right.
So we need to continue to help these kids, whether it's on a path towards a first team or it's on a path towards getting to college, or maybe it's on a path to getting to Bravos,
never
all
know.
These sorts of things. Yeah, you never know.
That's right. Ray Sari with us here as the new technical director of El Paso Locomotive FC. How good is the academy when you really look at the quality and depth of talent that you have to work with, and realizing that Locomotive FC has been fortunate to go into that pipeline a little bit in recent years and start to really bear the fruits of what I'm sure has been a pretty good process over the last 5-6 seasons?
Yeah, the academy is growing at a very fast rate, both in terms of numbers and success. Ivan Militar, our academy director, has done a fantastic job with that. They just went to an ECNL showcase this past weekend and swept. And ECNL is known for being a very good place for youth football within our country. It's a very good platform for our kids. I think there was over 120 college coaches out there watching this weekend, and those players that they were playing against, they couldn't touch our guys. They were very good. So I think you'll see. We're very excited about what's going on with the club, with the academy, and I think that you will see us be able to use these players on a more consistent basis and over the next 2 to 3 years because of the talent that we're starting to be able to develop within the academy.
That's big, and that's really I guess the name of the game, because when you put a pipeline together that really gets kids maybe when they're 10, 11, 12 years old and then starts to develop them all the way up, and by the time they're 16, 17, 18 can really look at either going to a D1 school or going pro. That's the ultimate. And we've seen that over the years. We've seen players before Locomotive FC was around leave El Paso to develop because there just wasn't enough quality here for them. And now having the ability to take future phenoms like a Ricardo Pepi when the next one comes up and keep them here inside the academy rather than them having to leave to go to Dallas or another city, that's a big deal.
No, I mean, like we talked about, this is an extremely talent-rich area of the country. I mean, you see Dallas, you see RSL coming down here to try to find players. I got a text from an MLS team 2 weeks ago about a kid who's a 2010 saying, like, hey, do you know this kid? Like, I had a couple scouts, like, mention him to me already. You know, there's people down here watching the kids in this area because these kids, they're footballers. It's in their blood and it's what they do, and we need to continue to help give them opportunities and help them grow and yeah, like you said, keep them here. We'll keep them here to grow and then obviously help them progress.
More with Ray as we keep things moving here on the show, but we hit the bottom of the hour. Let's get right back to it. We've got a Sports Center update coming up next.
Thank you very much, Steve. Let's go over to the news today out of New York. The Giants are granting quarterback Daniel Jones's request to be released. Jones met with the Giants president and owner John Mara and had multiple conversations with head coach Brian Daboll today. The two sides mutually agreed that it would be best for him and best for the team to move on, Mara said in a statement. Jones wanted to play, and this gives him a chance to latch on with another team before the end of the season. The move ends Jones's 6-season run with the Giants, mostly as the franchise quarterback. He was the number 6 overall pick in the 2019 NFL draft out of Duke. He finishes with a 44-1 record and 70 touchdown passes to go along with 47 interceptions. Over to the college football scoreboard coming up in 30 minutes out of the American Athletic Conference. Temple takes on UTSA, this one out at the Alamo Dome. UTSA, a former Conference USA team, they are 5-5 on the season, 3-3 in the American. Over to a game out of the Big Ten, Purdue takes on Michigan State. The Spartans are 4-6. Meanwhile, Boilermakers 1-9 on the year. 6 o'clock kickoff on Fox tonight out at East Lansing. Also, 8 o'clock kickoff. It's number 24 UNLV. They're 8-2 on the year. They take on San Jose State, who is 6-4 on the season. This one on FS1 coming up later tonight. Headed over to the NBA scoreboard coming up in 30 minutes, a couple of games. Nets take on the 76ers in the NBA Cup. Also, Wizards host the Celtics at 5, and then a 5:30 tip-off between the Warriors and the Pelicans. Let's look at your SportsCenter update. I'm Adrian Broadus.
All right, Adrian, thank you very much. Ray Sorry with us right now, the new technical director for El Paso Locomotive FC. But we should mention that Vilmer Cabrera is back as head coach, except now he doesn't have to add technical director to his title. He could just focus on coaching. And I'll ask you this because you mentioned footy and just how big it's growing and how big it is. At this level, is it really difficult having the dual role of technical director and head coach? Would you equate it to being the head coach and GM of a football team and knowing that sometimes it's tough having to handle both sides of the job rather than just coaching the club?
Yeah, I think that at this level, I think it is becoming necessary in these clubs now to separate the roles. I think one of the biggest conflicts is the way that you're approaching building the team. Right, so basically, I view the academy or the technical director myself is basically has this 5-year plan, this long-term view on where we want to be in the next 5 years. Where an academy coach is dealing, or the club's head coach is dealing with these waves, like these daily waves, these weekly. Hey, I got to win this weekend.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm helping steer the ship towards where we want to go, while Wilmer is dealing with these waves, And while Wilmer is dealing with so many waves, he cannot allot the necessary time to helping the academy director, to managing the relationship with FC Juarez and making sure that we're staying up with the best U23 teams at FC Juarez, managing and being able to speak with Fran, the sporting director at Juarez, say, hey, we got this kid that he's doing really well.
Yeah.
We can't get him as many minutes now. Can you watch him, see if this is a guy, Obviously, we think that dividing these roles will give Wilmer the ability to focus solely on the daily, those daily waves, those weekly waves, and then as well it'll help me in conjunction with him. As in, I obviously as a technical director, am not dealing with as many daily waves, but I'm making sure that we're staying on that path that we want to be on.
Yeah, I was going to say, but you and Wilmer really have to be one together because the players you bring in need to be the kind of players that fit his style. And as you start to really understand what makes his teams click and what makes his teams win, you go out and now you're kind of gearing more of your players towards that particular approach, correct?
No, absolutely. I mean, I think I talk on the phone more with Wilmer than I speak to my own girlfriend. We're in constant contact, and that is a balance of this job. Is I need to find players that match what we as a club are trying to do, but also adhere to what Wilmer wants to do. And as well, the most important thing is, are we being successful? Are we winning? Because we are a club that is known for being at the top of the West Coast Conference. We are known for being one of the best clubs in the league, and we need to get back to where we should be and where everybody knows that we belong.
And Andrew Forrest's job as general manager, he will still put together the contracts to sign players and work with those agents, right? And then do you do more of the scouting and we'll say, look, these are the players we're kind of zeroing in on outside of the club that we really would like. Can we make something happen and go from there? Is that kind of how the whole chain is going to be working as far as leadership goes?
Yeah, I would say that Andrew Forrest, obviously, he's a guy that has been asked to do a lot over the last 4 to 5 years. And so he is definitely still a part of this. Yes, Wilmer, myself, Jerson Echeverry, the other assistant coach, we're doing a lot of the scouting, speaking with agents, setting up the deals that we want to do. And Andrew is still there to help oversee, making sure that we're staying like, hey, are we in these guidelines that we want to be in?
Yep.
So I definitely, we're very lucky in that way that we have 4 to 5 people that enjoy working with each other that all share this common goal of getting us back to the top.
Now, Ray, you've been the technical director for 2.5 weeks, so it's not exactly like you've been doing this for a while. Mm-hmm. But I'll ask you, when you look at the club heading into 2025, from a player personnel standpoint, both the current roster and what you have underneath in the academy, Where is this club at right now compared to maybe where you want to see it, where you envision it, to where this team can be back making regular trips to the postseason and trying to compete for championships?
No, it's a great question. We believe that we have a very strong base already built here at the club, a very strong base. There's a reason why so many teams are calling about our players all the time, because they know we have very talented players. But we need to make improvements in a lot of areas, and the main focus of that being this next offseason is goals. We finished second to last in goals scored last year in the regular season. And so it's a clear point. We need to add more to our attack. We need to be more goal dangerous. We need to create more chances, although we were pretty highly up there in chances created. But that final product, it just wasn't there. So, no, I definitely think that you'll see that's a very big emphasis for us in this next offseason. But no, we feel very good about the base of players that we have here, as well as the base that we have in the academy to help supplement that base.
Funny enough, in the 6 seasons that we've watched Locomotive FC play, goal scoring has never been its forte. Never. Not even since the days when Mark Lowry first arrived. It was always defense, scoring enough to win close battles, tightly contested battles. And even though we've had some coaches come in and always tell us they're trying to raise the bar as far as offense goes and scoring, that has always seemed to be the one part of this club that's been the most elusive. And I wonder, is that difficult in general when you're building a championship-level soccer club? Is it tough to find goal scorers that really can make that big of a difference when you talk about the offensive power of a club?
No, it's a very good observation. I think that in the club's history, we were probably the best offensive year we had in terms of production was probably John Hutchinson's year, but it was also probably the worst defensive year that we had. Yeah. He was a very all-out attack sort of a coach. But I will say that I think within the league and in the USL landscape, you don't see a whole lot of consistent goal scorers because we know, look, if Diego Luna comes in here and tears it up, well, he's not going to be in El Paso for too long, And it's interesting to see if you look at some of the statistics of MLS teams, you have top goal scorers scoring 27, 30 goals, some guys having 20 assists. The guy who leads the league in assists, the last couple of years has been 10 assists, 12 assists. So there isn't a lot of goals scored in the league, and it's because, we're not naive to the idea that we are a second division team, So obviously there's something there, if these players are doing very, very well, they're not here. We have to find these players that we believe can do that, or we can help them get to that. But we don't have, we don't have Luis Suarez over here banging in 40 goals a year. It just doesn't exist in our league, Yeah. But again, I think the record goal scorer in the league, this year, how many?
27.
Yeah, 27 goals was the record scored, and that's a 34-game season. So those are good numbers, but that was the record this year. I think Dikwa had 22 last year, 23 on or about there, and that was very high for the league. So you don't see a lot of goals scored in this league.
No, not at all. We've got right now Ray Sorry here with us. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the hour with Ray. If you've got questions, 505-6009. That's our telephone number, 505-6009. You can also get in on Twitter and X at 600 ESPN El Paso. Back with more right after this. Back here on Sports Talk as we continue. Ray Sorry is with us right now, along with Alberto Huichapa, who has been quiet today because this is all about Ray. This is not Alberto's day. He's just hanging out. This is all about the new technical director for El Paso Locomotive FC. In fact, USL Championship tomorrow, 10 a.m., Colorado Springs, the Switchbacks against Rhode Island. Hopefully we could be talking about El Paso Locomotive FC down the road in that same exact situation like tomorrow morning, Ray.
No, absolutely. No, that is the goal. That's what we're all working for.
Meanwhile, when we talk about academy play, I've always wondered if you're trying to develop the best talent here locally and prepare them either for a chance to go play pro right out of high school or go to a Division I soccer program, how difficult is it to work with players and realize that it's almost impossible to be in the academy but also star for your high school at the same time? It's almost like you got to pick one or the other.
Yeah, it's a very common thing around the country, and even MLS academies deal with these issues. In their city, growing up in Kansas City, it was the same thing, where the Sporting Kansas City Academy wanted the best players, obviously, to play for the academy, but they had historically always played for their high schools, so there is a bit of a feud there. I shouldn't say a feud, but a bit of a battle there between the kids as well, because they are with their friends every day. They see their friends. They want to play in front of their friends at their high school. They have a lot of pride in their school. But it's what we are doing with our academy now being in ECNL. We're sending more and more academy players to college every single year. We feel that it's a very beneficial place for young players from our region to play.
But footy is the only sport really that does this at the high school level. Because if you think about it, if you're a top football prospect, you're going to play high school football. Mm-hmm. Same thing with baseball, same thing with basketball. Because there are high school teams you're going to play and then go from there, although they have prep academies for sometimes basketball players rather than high schools. But there's always that one level prior to going college or going pro. But soccer's different. I mean, you now have the choice, and I guess options are good, right? Because if a player wants to play high school soccer and feels like that's his best opportunity that he wants to do to parlay that into a college career or a pro career, he can do that. It's not like you have to go to the academies. It's just another option. The advantage is everything's covered, everything's paid for. You're going to play against some of the top players across the country and better prepare yourself that way.
No, absolutely. And I think a benefit of being in our academy as well is that you have the chance to play with the first team, to train with the first team maybe on a more consistent basis, which obviously the more eyeballs that you get watching you play and doing those things, the more help that you can get. It's definitely a very big benefit of ours. And as well as, like you said, it is a fully funded, under 20 academy. So your travel is paid for. All this stuff is paid for. You're going on trips to ECNL weekends with 120 college coaches looking at you. Obviously, if you feel that, look, I was a kid that didn't join that Sporting Kansas City Academy when I was asked. I played high school soccer, and then I went and played Division I and became a pro. So
it can be done. The point is, you're an example of, hey, you chose the traditional path, and it worked out for you. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's the good message to give for everybody out there, because whether you choose the academy or whether you decide to go the route like you did with high school, hey, there's still both great opportunities for it to work out.
No, absolutely. Good players, players that have proper mentality, that are still striving to get improved every single day. I am a true believer, and if you truly want something, if you really want something, you can make it happen. So it is your decision, but we do take a lot of pride in the resources that we provide our academy and that our club has to offer young players. And I do know there's proof to this that we're sending more and more academy players to college every single day. And not only that, but most of these kids are not paying for school. They're going almost for free. So, obviously, and no, it's and even if there are kids that go pro from Division II in our country, that play JUCO and go professional. There's a good example is Ryan Jiba, this player who was just on the Union Omaha this past weekend, who won the USL League One final. The kid was a JUCO, Salt Lake City, went League One, and then went and got an MLS deal out of League One.
Wow.
And he was a JUCO player. These things they happen in our league in our country all the time, because look, there's a lot of players. There's so many players. Our country is huge, so the talent pool is very, very big. And like I said, we are very lucky here in El Paso that we have one of the best regional talent pools in the country.
What ages does the academy start with? What's the youngest group you have?
I think the youngest groups that we have is the 12s, U12s, and then we go up. What we call the U20 academy is sort of like a reserve team for us. So the U20s is a conglomeration. You don't have to be 18, 19 years old. There's some 15-year-olds that play on that team that we're trying to get around better competition, things like that. So the U20s is like a conglomeration of all these really good players in these levels.
What's next? Give me a timeline between now and the start of the season in February of 2025. When we're talking about the upcoming season. Tell me about what you will be doing over the next couple of months.
No, obviously, I think one of the biggest things that we are concentrating on now as a club is the Academy playoffs starting the 6th, December 6th. It's a very big moment for our club. Obviously, these guys get to go showcase all the work that they've done over the past year and compete against the other academies in the USL academies. And then obviously playoffs, or obviously player signings. Player signings is huge. Like I said, we're very happy with the base of players that we have here, but we do have some positions that we need to get better at. And we've already, we've started that probably 3 or 4 months ago. So a lot of good things are happening. We're very happy with where we are in the recruiting process as well. Preseason plans are almost finished now, so we'll be done here soon. We're very excited about that. Just continuing, like I said, continuing to grow the club. How can we improve the club? What more can we do to better this place to help us get to where we want to be?
Will we be hosting any Academy playoff games this year?
No, the Academy playoff games are I should say it's the Academy finals. Okay. The Academy finals are in Florida this year.
Okay. Why do I feel like they've been in El Paso in the past? Maybe they haven't. I just feel like we've seen Academy matches in El Paso, haven't we?
Yeah, the Academy, they'll come and play. Obviously, the teams in our region come and play here, and we host them at the training ground, and so it's a very good setup to have.
Excellent. Well, listen, it's great to meet you. Thanks for dropping in. Come back and see us. Yeah. And, welcome to the official title now of technical director. So now we know who to yell at if the players aren't up to speed.
No, exactly.
I'm just kidding with you, Ray. Well, listen, you've been a lot of fun with us all hour long, and I'm excited. I feel like you've got a great this has been your life for such a long time right now. You like El Paso. You're comfortable here. You've been here a couple of years. Mm-hmm. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you can do now that you're having an opportunity to really concentrate full time on being technical director for Locomotive FC.
No, I'm very excited for it. Like I said, I'm very thankful that I'm here, and I appreciate you having me out. I look forward to sitting down with you in a couple months, and we talk about all the great things we did over the offseason and the good start that we had to the 2025 season.
We'll do it. He's Ray Sorry, folks. He's technical director at El Paso Locomotive FC. We'll come back, hour 2. The Foss, talking Cowboys football. Oh, we got to get to that depressing subject. That's coming up next right here, 600 ESPN El Paso.
Absolutely.
What time does that game kick off?
It kicks off at 7 here.
Okay.
Which would be 6 at home.
Very nice. What kind of food do you have in the press box? What are you eating?
So it's interesting. We don't eat too much in the press box. We have a ritual of going to one of the greatest wing bar places in America and in Texas, Pluckers. So
all right.
We make our move there post game.
Nice. So you hold off, you don't eat in the press box, and you go to – now here's my question. What if they've got Pluckers in the press box? Then what do you do? Because that's the real dilemma.
They don't have Pluckers in the press box, but I will eat some Chick-fil-A if it does show up in the press box.
All right. So that's your one vice. That's your press box vice is Chick-fil-A?
I like the Chick-fil-A sauce. So if I get a few nuggets before we get the wings, it's a great pre-game warm-up.
Hey, by the way, I officially booked our airfare today to New Orleans. So now I can actually say without a shadow of a doubt, I feel good about February 3rd, 2025, when Adrian and I land in New Orleans and we get a chance to meet up with you and check out Radio Row for the first time at the New Orleans Convention Center.
What's so interesting is, I've gone to New Orleans for a Super Bowl, and it was that time when they had the deer antler spray issue and the IGF and the growth hormone, and that guy, whatever his name was, Mitch, Shady Man, holding a press conference outside of Radio Row with all these cameras around him, talking about the players using this deer antler spray and the IGF-1. So it'll be a great return.
Yes, it will. Hopefully we won't have to deal with any kind of controversy this time around. And the best part's going to be who's going to play in the game. And I'll be honest, I don't know. I still feel like Detroit has a terrific opportunity to represent the NFC if they continue to play as well as they have. But the AFC is pretty much a toss-up right now, Foss.
1,000% spot on. I do like the fact that Detroit can make it there. That would be fantastic. I think what Dan Campbell has done for that team, and it's not just attitude, but a lot of it is mindset along with attitude. They believe, and they really do have quality players, even though Aiden Hutchinson is not coming off the edge for them.
Foss, when it comes to New Orleans, we're talking the road to New Orleans already here with 600 ESPN El Paso. Who are some of the New Orleans athletes that you're excited to see? You know, there's Marshall Faulk out there. You got to talk about Peyton Manning out there. Guys who've obviously have ties to the New Orleans areas like Odell Beckham Jr. There's going to be a lot of great New Orleans players or celebrities out there for Radio Row.
Yeah, so I've got two because they're alums of mine, Neil Smith and Tyrone Hughes. Neil Smith, two-time Super Bowl champion, and then Tyrone Hughes is in the New Orleans Saints Hall of Fame. Both great guys, and always good to be able to catch up with them and talk Husker football, Super Bowl, and Hall of Fame.
Oh, nice. All right, well, you're all set, that's for sure, and I'm sure Chris Fernandez will be as well, because before you know it, it's going to be about 3 months from now, and we'll be heading out. That's all it is. We're actually 2.5 months. It's going to be right around the corner when we make our show from New Orleans. But before we talk about all that, the Dallas Cowboys have a game this Sunday, and they're going to be going back to Washington to take on a Commanders team that is going to want to end their 2-game losing streak and continue to extend what has been a miserable month of November for America's team.
Yeah, and I think the saga continues for America's team, and I think the Commanders right the ship, and I think it's going to be a tall task. Although I remember back in 1989, Cappy, Dallas went 1-15, and the one win was in D.C. Now it's Landover or Maryland, FedEx Field, but I don't know if that can be done this Sunday.
I don't either. And by the way, Cooper Rush, since he's taken over for Dak Prescott, does not resemble the Cooper Rush that was 5-1 the last time Dak got hurt. And as we've talked about at length, Foss, that's because the offense is a completely different animal around him this season than what he had the last time.
Yes, that's absolutely right. You had a better team. You just did. And now you have a team that's beat up, injury-riddled, and you don't have the quality of football players that you had when Cooper went 5-1.
On either side of the ball. And by the way, you tell me, what's the biggest issue right now with the Cowboys' defense? Let's talk defense rather than offense right now.
Can't stop the run, minimum pass rush.
Yeah, which means we're talking about the line. That's the problem right now. The line has been an issue, and linebackers as well.
Well, here's the thing, and I was saying this. I'm going to have some folks on our show on Sunday. If you go back to the origins of football, you have to win the line of scrimmage. It's set up where people are basically 12 to 18 inches apart off of the line, and the primary way of moving the football down the field is to run. So he who controls the line of scrimmage really does themselves very much so of an advantage. You know, you can get anybody if they hold on to the ball security. You know, remember Timmy Smith? He rushes for 197 yards for the Washington Redskins, came from Hobbs, New Mexico, because that line was as good as it was. But if you don't have a line, it doesn't matter who's in the backfield. And if you don't have a line that's going to stop somebody running with the football, you don't have much of a chance of trying to outscore somebody because that offense can then control the game and the clock.
Foss, today we heard the news that Daniel Jones is going to be waived from the Giants. He requested it on his side. I know this is a team that is just as irrelevant or maybe even more so than the Cowboys in the same division. Just your thoughts right there. A team who paid a quarterback right here in the New York Giants, and the quarterback situation just didn't work out. So they're going to eat some dead cap, and they want to move on from Daniel Jones.
It's smart. In any relationship, Adrian, if you're dating someone and nobody's agreeing, we can't go to the movies right, we can't go out to eat right, we don't like watching TV, hey, kill it before it grows. It's becoming a weed. What I do appreciate, though, is Daniel Jones says, hey, I take responsibility of the terrible play that I displayed for the New York Giants and manned up. I don't know if that's been done or down.
Well.
No, Dak's sitting there saying we're awful. He didn't say it like that. But you know what? This year, for certain, you contributed to that. We suck. Yes, but again, I know we've had the discussion, Cappy. Jerry did this and Jerry gave him that. Well, sometimes you got to be smarter than the guy who's even your boss and say, hey, boss, isn't it better if you pay me some and we go get some people to surround me? That's on Dak, too.
Listen. Do you really think? Let me ask you this: do you really think Jerry approached Dak and said, "Hey, Dak, listen, I need to build a winner. We need to have a very team-friendly deal." And Dak said, "Nah, sorry, Jerry, not interested." Do you really believe that's how the conversation went? In all honesty,
let me tell you this: it doesn't matter how the conversation went; it's what happened after the conversation. It's funny because in a different time frame during the day, I have to deal with facts and laws and evidence and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, in that profession, it's what happened. And it doesn't matter how you get there most of the time. There are laws and there are exceptions to what happens. But it's the bottom line of what is. That's what matters.
All right, I'm going to say this once, and I'm never going to say this again. But I want you for a minute to put yourself in Dak's shoes. You're Dak Prescott, Foss, which is God help us, but that's just the way it is for this particular exercise we're doing here on Sports.
For this example,
you're Dak. Yes,
purposes only.
You're Dak Prescott. Okay,
right.
You're prepared to play the season in the last year of your deal without a new contract. Jerry Jones comes up. Listen, let me go through the exercise. Jerry Jones approaches you and says, Dak, I have a new 4-year contract. We want you to sign. It's going to give us flexibility this season, in season, but we are going to make you the highest paid player ever to play the game, and you're going to make $251 million guaranteed of your $260 million. Knowing that contract will put your team in financial hell. Do you tell Jerry Jones, Jerry, thank you for that offer, but I will not sign that because it will not improve the team around me? Or do you say, thank you very much, you take your money, and he offered it to you, you're set, and you're not really worrying about what's going to happen outside of your contract? What do you do?
Well, you know me already, Cappy. I want to win, okay? So I can manage $20 million a year. It's not even a year because they get paid over their weeks. I love to win. I hate to lose. I don't kick the dog. I don't throw bricks at the TV. But it does not sit well with my person. So I want a team anytime. I want the best play-by-play guy. That's why I got D. Hansen to my left. I want the best guys that go with me to the Super Bowl or Radio Row. That's why I have you and Adrian. They can be flexible, that you know what's up. You know me, I know you. We play as a team, and we get it done. I don't care if I'm the richest guy in the world or not. At the end of the day, when I get taken up in the air and put in the box, that was the one. He won. He won when he was at Alvin Park. He won when he was at Eastwood Troopers. He won when he was at Princeton. He helped recruit guys win national championships at Nebraska. He had a Super Bowl winning quarterback and teammate in Jason and Judd Garrett with the Cowboys in the 90s. In this game that I love, I've been around champions the whole time. My letter jacket was full of patches because I want to win. I can make more money, but there's only one championship trophy at the end of each season. I want that. I'll make the money with the commercials, and I'll do all that stuff later. But I got to have a team because losing sucks. Get on a team that wins 2 games. Well, you wait till what happens to this Dallas Cowboys team if they don't win any more games or they go 5 and whatever. You're going to hear a lot of stuff come out on social media because nobody loves to lose.
Foster, they're going to run it back one more year with Dak. So how does this team actually improve itself knowing that this is probably headed to a coaching change as well?
Well, you could do a Daniel Jones like the Giants didn't cut him. I know you take a massive hit.
They're going to have to run it back at least one more year.
Well, do they?
Yes.
They have to pay him $240 million. But here's the deal. We're going to have another 17 weeks of this. You ask me, we're going to have 2 seasons, then let's just go ahead and call it what it is. 2 losing seasons for the Dallas Cowboys, guaranteed. I'm still a fan, but that's where we are. If we run it back with Dak Prescott the way things are, we have another losing season, in my opinion. That's all it is.
Well, guess what? Your owner is not going to take a $250 million hit and say he made a mistake before the first year of that deal takes shape. You know that's not going to happen.
So we will have 2 seasons, 2 losing seasons guaranteed. That's fine. Okay. Then we know. We already know.
You might have 5 because I don't know if Jerry's going to do anything before this new contract is up, considering all that money is guaranteed.
There you go. So you know too. This one's not rocket science, friends. Not. You don't have a good team. You don't.
Nope. Hey, by the way, who wins on Sunday, Dallas or Washington?
Washington.
Is it close?
No. They want Dan Quinn is going to run it up.
Probably right. Probably right. So, could get ugly for Cowboys Nation. Could get very, very ugly. That's for sure. And the season just gets worse and worse. Will we see Trey Lance on Sunday?
Well, that's the only thing that you can bet on. That's the only thing you can bet on. Listen, my cousin's a huge Washington fan. He moved from Washington to Texas. I don't have to take the phone call because it's going to come and it's going to keep coming. So trust me, if there's a miracle, don't give me a Christmas present. Let's beat Washington twice. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's not happening. And by the way, here's another question before I'll leave you with this. You know, you talked about how you love to win, how you want to win. That's the most important thing. What's more important right now? Winning some games or losing and getting a better draft pick?
Losing and getting a better draft pick. Come on, we got brains. We're not on the yellow brick road. Get the draft picks, man. Do something positive.
Have a great call tonight. Good luck with Westlake and the San Antonio Brennan team, and we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
And what do you have coming up on Laying Down the Law this Sunday?
We're gonna be talking to Dallas and Washington. Also, if Texas and Texas A&M does right, they will be playing a huge matchup after Saturday on November 30th, and they will be able to, see who wins the Battle of Texas and goes to the SEC championship. So I think 2 big, huge football affairs for the state of Texas in the next 48 to 72 hours.
Should be a lot of fun. There's a lot going on in the background out there. I can tell it's a pretty loud press box. So enjoy yourself. Have a great call. And we were not going to talk to you probably until after the holidays. So Happy Thanksgiving, Foss. Happy Thanksgiving to you, the family, and everybody else.
Hey, man, happy Thanksgiving to y'all. It's going to be interesting. I know you and I will talk, and Adrian, we get to do that offline. But, yes, everybody have a safe holiday. Enjoy, get some rest. And don't be too mad and upset because you already know what's going to happen. So that should quell some of the disappointment.
There you go. That's right. You already know the ending, so don't get too mad. I like that. That's a good way of describing things. That's good.
Yeah, you already know what's going to happen.
All right. Foss, we'll talk to you soon. Take care, man.
All right, brothers. Take care.
There he is, Steve Foster, the Foss. Whew. That's a lot to unpack there, isn't it?
Man, that contract stuff that he's saying, nobody in the right mind would ever do that. Let me just say that.
No. Jerry, listen, there is no way on God's green earth Jerry Jones is going to eat $250 million and cut ties with Dak. Look, here's the mistake, okay? He didn't have to sign him. He could have just rolled the dice, and then he'd be in such a better spot right now than the other way.
Yeah, I mean, Dak would have signed or re-signed this past year or this next year on a team-friendly deal, likely because of this injury.
Exactly. Or let him walk and go get somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. And then you would have had a really good draft pick, so you could have evaluated whoever you wanted.
Man, that's what drives you crazy, is seeing what's happened and realizing this never had to happen. Did not have to happen. 23 past. Let's go to Charlie for traffic. We'll come back. Whole lot more as we approach the midway point here on Sports Talk. 28 past the hour as we continue here on Sports Talk. Would like to thank the Foss for joining us on the Longhorn Distributing Hotline. Longhorn Distributing, the exclusive distributor for hot seat pressure washers. With cold water, hot water, and trailer mountain machinery, there's a wide variety to fit your needs. 5516 East Paisano between I-10 and Fox Plaza. Longhorn Distributing. All right, still to come, we have another guest who's going to join us in our final hour. Also, excited about this, we're going to have Carlos Lopez, the Spanish voice of Tennessee sports, joining us. He's going to be calling the game tomorrow for UTEP in Tennessee. Don't we also have right now UTEP volleyball going on at Club Memorial?
Yeah, Club Memorial is going on right now, Steve. In fact, I believe that Kennesaw Middle Tennessee game just wrapped up, so I believe UTEP volleyball about to get underway here. Alberto, where are we at? Where are we at in this?
So the Kennesaw State game and Middle Tennessee game, that one just ended. And so the Liberty,
running a little behind.
Yeah, they're running behind. Liberty Flames, they're out there getting warm right now, along with the UTEP Miners.
Sounds like it's running way behind. What happened? Any upsets so far in volleyball? Are they all going on exactly as we expected?
I'm not sure about the first game. I did see the end
actually,
of this Middle
let me
Tennessee
jump
game.
in here. Zay was explaining to me when I was at practice that FIU took Western Kentucky to like 35 points in the fourth set. So Florida International played Western Kentucky really well in the quarterfinal round. I know they lost. It was 3-1 ultimately, but FIU had a spirited effort here against the top overall seed.
That's huge. By the way, did you see the really cool UTEP volleyball shirts that they're selling?
Yeah, those are neat, man. I thought those, somebody was commenting on the prices. Look, the prices are the prices because this is to raise money for the program. So look at what they unveiled today, Steve. They unveiled the scoreboard. They had the beautiful mural that was right up front. As soon as you walk into Memorial Gym, you get a chance to see UTEP volleyball right there.
That's right.
So, I'm cool with this. I'm cool with the pricing. I love the logo. The designs and all of that. And it's a historic season right here, getting a chance to host the CUSA tournament at Memorial Gym.
What fans expect? UTEP volleyball T-shirts for $10?
Yeah, come on. Are you serious?
I don't know. I don't even know what they cost, but whoever. It's you're supporting the girls and you're supporting the program. That's what's happening here. And hopefully they're selling them on site at Memorial Gym.
Yeah, that's a good point too, right? Because this one, the first one I really like, it's all the players in kind of like a caricature format. Those T-shirts run for $43. Okay, the hoodies themselves are $68. So I get it. It's a little pricey right there, but it all goes back to the volleyball program right there. So for the design itself, I'd pay that kind of money.
Oh yeah, me too. So that's good stuff. Well, listen. All I can tell you right now is this. Whatever happens, it's historic. It's the first volleyball championship at Memorial Gym. Hopefully we see another one, but it would probably have to come through the Mountain West Conference as opposed through CUSA.
Yeah, I mean, UTEP's going to be in a good place in the Mountain West as well in terms of competition for volleyball. That's a good thing right there. And the fact that they get to take on Liberty tonight, an opportunity to win. Looking ahead to tomorrow, if UTEP wins tonight and if New Mexico State wins tonight as well, UTEP Aggies tomorrow, Miners Aggies, Battle of I-10 finds itself in the CUSA volleyball tournament. That would be really interesting right there for the semifinals.
Yeah, it should be. I'm with you. 505-6009, that is our telephone number as we continue here on Sports Talk. 505-6009 gets you right on in and through to the program. All right, so we'll get UTEP Zay on in just a little bit. We'll get all the lowdown from him as we hit the bottom of the hour. We've got Sports Center coming up right now. Who's doing this? Is it Adrian or is it going to be Alberto? Hang on, let me look at Alberto. No. I vowed never again. Do you want? I mean, what's that?
That's true. You did vow that.
I'm ready to go. I got
Are
you
you?
guys.
Okay, here we go. Here's Adrian with the latest.
Thank you, Steve. Let's kick it off with college football scores. UTSA leads Temple 7-3. 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. ESPN2 has this game. The Roadrunners driving down to the Temple 44-yard line. Let's see if they can get another score out of this drive in the first quarter of that matchup. Purdue, they're 1-9. They take on 4-6 Michigan State out at Spartan Stadium. 6 o'clock kickoff. This one on Fox. Also, the late game tonight, 8 o'clock kickoff. It's number 24. UNLV. They're 8-2 and 4-1 in the Mountain West. They take on San Jose State, which is 6-4 on the season right now. This one taking place out at CFCU Stadium out in San Jose. Going over to the NBA scoreboard right now. A couple games going on currently. Let's start off in Philadelphia. Man, the Philadelphia 76ers have had a terrible season so far. 2-12 on the year. They're up 28-24 against the Brooklyn Nets. 28 seconds to go in the first quarter of that matchup. Going over to Washington, it's the Celtics leading the Wizards 28-25. 36 seconds left in the first quarter of this one. Peyton Pritchard with 7 points early on for Boston. All these games tonight as part of the NBA Cup group play. Coming up later tonight on ESPN, it's the Mavericks taking on the Nuggets. That one at 8 o'clock. And the current NBA game going on right now, actually about to get underway, it's the Warriors. They're 11-3 taking on the 4-12 Pelicans. A 5:30 tip-off on ESPN as part of their game of the night. Now let's look at your SportsCenter update for 600 ESPN El Paso. I'm Adrian Broadus.
Appreciate that, Adrian. Thank you very much. As we continue here on the show, 505-6009, our telephone number, 505-6009. So, the baseball trade that apparently has gone down today, Jonathan India for Brady Singer. That is an interesting deal because the Reds and Royals make the rare move. I mean, they're not that far from each other. You don't usually see Cincinnati and KC engaging in a trade, but you know what? This is really an interesting deal when you look at both players moving teams and what they bring to each club.
So I'm also seeing, according to Jack Johnson, who covers, he actually covers the Royals thanks to Locked On Network. He says also in the trade, it's Joey Weimer. He's also going to be thrown into the mix with the trade as well. He's going to go back to Kansas City, and it's just righty Brady Singer coming back in the deal. Your thoughts on Singer being maybe a trade high, or getting traded at his highest value?
Well, look, last season he went 9-13, but he did have an ERA under 4. He had an ERA of 3.71. He pitched almost 180 innings, struck out 170 batters. He had a career high. That was the best for him, is that he pitched to a career high number of innings, respectable ERA. He is not a top 1, 2, or 3 starter, but he's 28 years old. And I kind of feel like he is the pitching version of Jonathan India. Last season, Jonathan India hit .248, 15 home runs, 58 RBIs. He plays second base. It's good. But here's the thing. There were guys coming back from injury next season, so there was going to be a playing time squeeze for India. So it makes sense. Now he can start at second base for the Royals, hits in their lineup. So it almost seems like a challenge trade to me, where both guys are very similar players, similar skill sets for their positions, and it's giving the Reds another pitcher, which they need, and giving the Royals a starting second baseman, which they need.
Sentimental value on that side of things for the Reds, they probably lose out the most right there, right? Knowing that India has some kind of sentiment to the fans, in a sense? No?
Yeah, he came up through them, and he was a nice rookie, but it's weird. Like, everybody expected India to take the next step offensively. Right. That never happened. He is what he is. He's a 250 hitter with about 15 to 20 home runs. And you know what? Those guys are pretty common around Major League Baseball. So, and with Matt McClain coming back from the injury, if he plays second base, he could do that and then some. He was playing great before he really got hurt and missed all of last season. So, I get it. I really do. Look, the Reds need pitching. That's what it comes down to. They always need pitching, it seems like. But they finally get themselves an arm who's kind of entering the prime of his career, who will be like that number 3, number 4 starter, and those are valuable in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, especially if you're the Reds and you're Cincinnati, who's not necessarily the destination for free agents coming up in the offseason. So you look to acquire talent here through this route, through trades, versus hoping to just sign people in the offseason, maybe have to overpay on certain guys.
I like the deal. I mean, I think it's a fun one because I'm interested to see how both teams fare with their new teams. And remember, today was the deadline for non-tender with their club. So, like, for example, Nick Madrigal was non-tendered by the Cubs. So he's a free agent. He's been hurt a lot, but at one time, he was the 4th overall pick in the draft. So he now becomes a free agent. Also, the Blue Jays non-tendered their closer, Jordan Romano. So he's a 2-time All-Star. He's 31 years old. He is now a free agent.
That sounds like a Met right there, a future Met.
Could be. You never know. Could be. So it's interesting to look at some of the players non-tendered and where they're going to be going when it's all said and done.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the for Madrigal, it's just a run with the Cubs that just never panned out, and for Romano either with the Blue Jays. Man, you think back to Romano, who he was with St. Louis. He's just not that anymore here. Maybe he can have a bounce back season. Who knows?
I mean, look at the Dodgers today. They tendered contracts to Tony Gonsolin and Dustin May, but they non-tendered Brent Honeywell Jr. So he will now become a free agent. And if the name sounds familiar, it should. He played a valuable role in the Dodger bullpen. He was also a Chihuahua a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like you have to pick who you're going to take for that next year as far as the tender goes. And for May, I just feel like you just keep going with him, even though he's gone through a flurry of injuries on his side. When he is healthy, May is pretty special as a righty.
The problem is he's not healthy. He's had 2 now Tommy John surgeries in the last 2 years. That is brutal. Absolutely brutal. So here's something else that's kind of interesting. And I don't know if Mike Yastrzemski got traded, but he was also another one that was supposed to be in possible trade discussions with multiple teams. He was projected to make $9.5 million in arbitration. So the Giants were looking to move him. And that's, by the way, Carl Yastrzemski's grandson, Mike Yastrzemski. So, yeah, it is going to be interesting to see who ends up being non-tendered when it was all said and done. I'm looking right now. The deadline is in 20 minutes, but some of the names we're hearing right now, there's some good ones who are non-tendered. In fact, I'm looking at the list of players that are rumored to be non-tendered. Besides Jordan Romano and Nick Madrigal, Gavin Sheets, who was a nice DH for the White Sox, Austin Hayes, the outfielder who's kind of bounced around. How about Brian De La Cruz? Here's another good one, Connor Joe. Those are some of the names that are non-tendered so far.
Hey, how about the Yankees and Trent Grisham agreeing on the 1-year, $5 million deal? They avoid arbitration right there. He can get bonuses as well, about $250,000 in bonuses. So there's another one just to note.
Yeah, and by the way, $5 million is kind of a bargain for Trent Grisham.
I think so too.
I mean, it really is. He's a bench player. He is what he is. but still, I mean, there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of free agents when it's all said and done. This is going to be a fascinating list when we get the full list coming up here at 6:00. And by the way, we could be seeing more trades when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at this. It's saying this is actually, according to Dodger Nation, Tony Gonsolin's deal is $5.4 million to avoid arbitration. So you like that? I mean, I feel like for Gonsolin, just to help out in the bullpen in relief.
Or he might be starting again, because remember, he was a starter before he hurt his arm.
Right.
So I know the Dodgers still have a lot of pitchers that potentially are coming back, but they're also going to be losing a couple. I think Walker Buehler could be a free agent when it's all said and done. So, and also Jack Flaherty. So you lose those two, and even though you're getting a guy like Shohei Ohtani back, you might be counting on Tony Gonsolin to help fill out that rotation for $5 million.
Not bad at all. And another name to watch out for tender decision, David Bednar out of Pittsburgh. So there we go.
Former closer there too. He lost his job midseason, but he was pretty dominant when he was shutting the door for a lot of teams. So yeah, that's interesting too. Again, the list will be coming. I'm assuming trades will be going down. It could be fun for baseball fans because we could be getting a lot of names here over the next hour or two that either will be non-tendered or will be changing zip codes for next season.
Yeah, I like the changing zip codes idea. And sometimes teams end up panning out and getting somebody big in these kind of deals right here, Steve. So for some teams, they get a guy on a bargain. For other teams, they steal a guy away from somebody else.
Yep. All right. When we come back, what did Saquon Barkley think about the Giants releasing Daniel Jones as former quarterback and his good friend? We'll play that audio for you next, and we'll keep things moving as Sports Talk continues. 600 ESPN El Paso. Back here on Sports Talk, 10 in front of 6 right now as we continue. We're going to talk a little Tennessee football coming up to begin our final hour. Excited about that. In fact, we are going to have Carlos Lopez. He is the Spanish play-by-play voice for Tennessee football, and he is going to, and from what I understand, Carlos is going to remind us a lot of one of our interns.
That's right. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Sebastian Perez Navarro. It's his excitement in the voice, in how he approaches things. And for somebody like Carlos, Steve, I was thinking this is so cool that they have Spanish radio, that talks Tennessee football and Tennessee athletics. They are the official flagship radio station for it. That's really cool. And it makes me think like we should do it. It should be a no-brainer here in El Paso, right?
We've done it before.
No, I know. I understand.
I don't know why they're not doing it now. It's a little strange.
Yeah, I don't understand either.
Hey, by the way, I'm looking at the crowd shot for the UTEP Liberty matchup in the first round of the CUSA tournament. Crowd looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it looks pretty good too, and I love the new video board as well. I think that fans are going to get a chance to get out there and watch this quarterfinal matchup. Let's be honest, though. The real matchup, or the one that everybody needs to be at, is going to be Sunday if the Miners can find their way all the way out there, and then tomorrow against the Aggies if they end up winning today.
Hey, by the way, is that scoreboard at Club Memorial a permanent feature, or is that just for the championship?
That's a good question. I saw Danny Garcia post something about this himself. He was giving actually a big shout out to the company that actually did it, the OES scoreboard. It says a new video board in time for the Conference USA Volleyball Championship. So maybe it's permanent, Steve.
Oh my God! If they have a video board at Memorial, that would be enormous.
A game changer, huh? I think it's like a absolute game changer for this program that's earned something like this. So yeah, Danny Garcia said that he was giving a big shout out to a company for installing the new video board, and it looks permanent. That
thing looks awesome. The reason I say that is, I don't know if you remember this, but when Memorial used to host the CUSA basketball tournaments when it was in El Paso, sometimes you would see these temporary like video boards and stuff like that would be there just for the basketball tournament, but they would take it out as soon as it's over. So if this thing is permanent and it's not just for 3 days, That's a pretty good commitment from UTEP. I like that.
Yeah, and they should commit to more facility, upgrades for Memorial Gym if and as UTEP volleyball continues to play there, especially when you host a conference tournament like this.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. 505-6009, our telephone number as we continue here on Sports Talk. Alberto, what do you think? Give me your thoughts about Club Memorial.
I really liked it. I thought I was going to be underwhelmed when they were saying how awesome and cool it was going to be. But I mean, with
hang on, why would it be underwhelming? Why would your first reaction be neg? Tell me, be honest.
No. My reaction to that was the way that people were talking about it. I was like, it can't be that good. It can't be that good, and this is going to be bad. But no, it was actually good. The walls look cool. The wall art looks cool. Looks like you can come take a picture. It's picture-worthy. The video board looks amazing. It looks like it is definitely permanent. It looks high-def. Doesn't look grainy. Doesn't look crappy. Doesn't look old. Looks phenomenal. And so it's definitely an upgrade to a facility that definitely needed it. So I'm excited. I'm happy. You count me in the happy side.
That's good. Happy, Alberto?
Yes, definitely.
Because I've seen all the sides of you. I've seen happy Alberto. I've seen sad Alberto. I've seen angry Alberto before.
Definitely.
Tired Alberto sometimes.
Yes. Well, he should be tired right now. It's 3 days in a row. He's worked a double.
Man, that's dedication.
It is. Other things I could use other words besides dedication, but I'll keep that just
and
to
he
myself.
did minor talk with us, man.
Did he really?
Yes.
Oh, what a week. This is, by the way, speaking of minor talk, after the game tomorrow, you've got that coming up. Who's going to be joining you for that?
Well, we got the whole crew. So Zay will be joining us. Sal will be joining us. Alberto Ureta is doing the ESPN Plus broadcast of UTEP women's basketball tomorrow.
Really?
Yes,
sir.
What are you doing for that?
I'm going to be on the color.
You're actually going to be on the team, huh? They let you back?
Yeah.
Really?
That's my exact reaction, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, so with, Conference USA volleyball going on, football, Mondo all the way over there with football.
They had no choice.
Exactly.
I love it.
Exactly.
Good for you. It's about time you weaseled your way back into UTEP telecast. I like that.
Let's go.
It's amazing.
Keep it up.
We're going to be promoting this.
Hey, by the way, don't let this be a one-off. Make this a regular thing.
I hope.
I will be tuning in to listen to you tomorrow on ESPN Plus.
It should be a good one.
What time does that start?
It's a 2 p.m. start. 2 p.m. start.
Who's doing the game with you?
Benji Grajeda is doing it.
Benji's calling it?
Yes, sir.
I like that. You know, they didn't even ask me.
They didn't.
No. They must assume I'm so busy on weekends that they're not even bothering. Did they ask you, Adrian?
No, they didn't ask me.
See, they didn't even ask us. Hey, you know what? I'm happy for you. That is great. Maybe I'll come and just try to razz you during the game.
That'd be fun. Heckle me?
Yeah, I'll heckle you. That'll be fun.
Great job. Just keep saying that.
Yeah.
or criticize. Hey, no, that was the wrong number. Wrong number.
Oh, my God. I love it. All right. Dallas Cowboys update, and then we'll do a little UTEP Tennessee with the Vols and their Spanish play-by-play broadcaster. That's next, right here, 600 ESPN El Paso. In the house, along with Adrian Broadus, I'm Steve Kaplowitz. Super excited about our next guest. He is the Spanish play-by-play voice for Tennessee Vols football, and he is going to give us the insight about what to expect here tomorrow as the Miners kick off with the Volunteers. Joining us live on our 600 ESPN El Paso Longhorn Distributing Hotline, where all of our guests always appear, is Carlos Lopez, all the way from Knoxville, Tennessee. Carlos, welcome to the show. How are you today?
¿Cómo está mi gente ya del Paso? Yo soy Carlos López desde aquí, desde Knoxville, Tennessee. Le mando muchos abrazos y muchos besos. Vamos, Vols, y arriba los Mineros. What's going on, everybody?
I feel at home now. You started it off, and I'm very relaxed with that kind of intro. That's good, Carlos. Very nice.
That's a little bit of what we can expect, from tomorrow on the Spanish broadcast.
Tell me how a guy like you is ending up as the Spanish play-by-play man in Knoxville, because that is not a place I would have expected this. This was like a pleasant surprise when I heard about this news.
I tell you what, man, it all started with God giving my mother that strength to be able to migrate from Venezuela. My mother used to work for the National Police of Caracas, Venezuela. And when Hugo Chavez started taking over power, my mother did not vote for Chavez. So for my mother to have that strength to move to and migrate to a different country so that her two boys could have a better future. It all started with her. And as soon as we arrived here, we first came to Miami, but my mom didn't really like that area because we weren't really going to learn English, so she wanted to move up a little bit north. And we ended up in the Smoky Mountains, in Rocky Top, right here in East Tennessee. And she said, this is the place where I need to raise my boys. And she said, whatever dreams you have, you can make a reality right here in the United States. So I had an amazing opportunity growing up, obviously in Venezuela, playing soccer, transitioned to American football here in Tennessee. Got to play a little bit of Division I football after making a stop in Division II. Did a graduate transfer to Middle Tennessee State University, and I believe the MTSU Blue Raiders. I played you all,
Yep.
the UTEP, and then I had an opportunity to play in the Arena Football League for the Tampa Bay Storm as a kicker. So all this time, as I'm playing and as I'm coaching after the Arena League folded a little bit, I came back to Tennessee, and I started coaching at the winningest school of state championships in East Tennessee, Alcoa High School. And as I'm there, all these years from 2013, 2014 on, all I'm seeing is nothing but the Hispanic population in Tennessee just rising and rising. And I said, man, you know what? I need to do something for my community. And it just started 2 years ago when we played Alabama and we beat them at home. And I said, let me just post a play on social media on one of our Princeton fan. He was one of our tight ends. He scored a touchdown from 2 yards out. And I just did, señores, aquí viene el número 5, Hooker, que tiene la pelota. Vamos a ver si van a correr o la van a pasar. Se le entrega a Fede, tengo la 2-1. Dale 6. And then that Dale 6 was the famous saying that I did not know about Mr. John Ward, who was the most famous broadcaster that we had here in Tennessee. And then that Dale 6 was to give him 6. And then I started posting those plays on social media. And then I think that one play was a 30-second play. The next day had 800,000 views on Twitter. And then everybody was just like, man, we want more. And then this is the moment 2 years ago when I said, I think that we have something special here where we can unite this Hispanic community that is here in Tennessee that belongs to wear this color orange that we wear here. And then I just started simply looking at the rosters at the University of Tennessee and looking at all the Hispanic last names that I could find and finding them on Instagram, on social media, started sending DMs, and one of those last names was Ojeda. And Ojeda is the head coach of our women's tennis team at the University of Tennessee. Her name is Allison Ojeda, and it just happens to be Mexican-American. And I shared some stuff with her, and she said, Carlos, I am fascinated with everything that you're doing. All of this resonates with me here, me being Mexican-American. And then it just started progressing. I got to have a meeting with our administration, unbelievable, here at the University of Tennessee, and they started seeing my vision. They're asking me questions. I'm doing my research. They started seeing the vision. And then last year, we had an opportunity to do one game for Hispanic Heritage Month against the Roadrunners, Los Correcaminos, the UTSA.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a fantastic game that we did. I think on social media, after we put out the game and we did, a couple of plays here and there on social media, I think we ended up reaching around 24 million accounts on social media. And they said this year in June, I got a phone call from our flagship station of the Vols, and they said, hey, Carlos, do you want to do some games? And I said, sure, I'll do some Hispanic Heritage Month games. That's no problem. And they were like, no, Tennessee wants you to do all the games.
Wow.
And I was like, man, this is amazing, because you're right about what you said, which is crazy because I had one person when all those videos came out, and they said, Carlos, that video was cool and you went viral, but we live in Tennessee and nobody's going to listen to your Spanish broadcast. And that kind of fired me up a little bit. That's when I drew the line in the sand and I said, we'll see. And now, because of God's grace, we are in 11 Latin American countries. We just got interviewed 2 weeks ago by Telemundo all the way down in Buenos Aires, Argentina. And then tomorrow we get to broadcast. Every week this year we're making history, and now we get to broadcast in Spanish against La Universidad de Texas and El Paso, which, if I'm not mistaken, between El Paso, Juarez, in Las Cruces, we have over 1 million Latinos close to you all.
That's right. That's a good. Hey, by the way, you hit it on the head, and I love that. And you know what the best is? So when I listen to you speak, obviously I get the Latino accent. I do. But I also hear some Southern accent in the middle of that. Like, you are the perfect combination of everything as far as I'm concerned, Carlos. It's a beautiful thing, man.
Man, I appreciate. I guess I don't hear it so much, but whenever now, I've been in touch now with our Spanish broadcasters within the SEC. We became the fourth school in the SEC with Spanish broadcast. So I've been in touch with Rubén Pizarro over there in with the Longhorns, and Pedro Luna with Texas A&M, and Enrique Vasquez with Oklahoma. And they all said, Carlos, but wait a minute, you got the Latino thing, but you also got the country accent, man. What's going on there? So it's pretty cool.
Carlos, let's jump into this game a little bit. What do you notice from the UTEP Miners? They're going into this one, obviously, with only 2 wins on the season, completely opposite from Tennessee on the year. But just your thoughts on this Miner team going into this one tomorrow.
Right. I get a lot of questions like that, in the aspect of, what do we see? And as a player myself, I do see a developing team. I do see a head coach that has success. If I'm not mistaken, at Austin Peay, having great success in a conference game and conference play with his previous university and being in this university. It's a program that has the talent. It's a program that obviously has had a rough season, but everything this year, man. This college football season has been so crazy because of NIL and everything that's just going around college football. You guys have some players that at any moment can have that spark to just bring you, that chispa, if I may, in Espanol, to tell you guys, hey, man, we have something here special that we can continue to build upon on next year. You guys have some special players and great coaches as well.
Well, first off, a year ago, you mentioned Scotty Walden's Austin Peay club. He came into Tennessee, and for a half of football, he really put a scare into everybody out there in Knoxville.
Absolutely. And that's on me on my side. Looking back at all the years previously before Josh Heupel got to Tennessee, we've been I'm speaking now not as a broadcaster but as a fan. I was struggling for a long time on being a fan of Tennessee, but being here, this is my home, and I'll be a fan whether we win all the games or we win no games. I will be a fan, and that's what I appreciate about that culture down there in El Paso. Because it doesn't matter what's going on, y'all still going to have that family and that community building around your campus.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And when you look at the matchup and you look at the game, I look at a Tennessee team that is coming off of a tough loss at Georgia. They had won 4 in a row, and they had won really 8 of their last 9. So they're going to want to make a statement tomorrow against UTEP. We've talked a lot about that. That's why, this is almost a 6-touchdown spread between the two teams. And I'm so interested to see how the Miners, who played Nebraska to start the year, come into this game, battle-tested through all their games. But, they come in maybe with a nothing-to-lose mentality and see where that goes.
Well, if you see a couple of the games that you guys have had, have been, scoring a lot of points, 45 points on a previous win that I saw. So you guys have the tools, UTEP has the tools and the players to make those plays and give those teams a scare. But on our side over here, we do have those players that are very explosive. Obviously, I'm sure you guys know about our defensive line and our offensive line. Cooper Mays, our center, has been 24, 25 games in a row without allowing a sack. And then you have James Pierce coming in from the edge, who's very powerful, just giving a scare in everybody. And you're right. In the first half against Georgia, we had that strength. But at the end of the day, it is part of this game. You win some, you lose some, but you do have to play 4 quarters, and that's what we did not do. But we have 2 games left. You guys have 2 games left, and we are trying to make a statement in this next 2 weeks because we are in the hopes of the college football playoffs.
Meanwhile, we're talking right now to Carlos Lopez. He's the play-by-play Spanish voice of Tennessee football. What has made Dylan Sampson so good this year? The junior running back has 21 touchdowns. What, as you've seen his growth and development over the last couple of seasons, what's made him such a terrific football player?
Well, we call him over here Dylan Dale 6 Samson because every time he touches the ball, all I have to scream is Dale 6, give him 6. But if you actually talk to him, he will always give the credit to his O-line. The team that they have is something. It's something special to be able to watch. We also, my color commentator Fuad Reves, who is unbelievable in the game, he calls him El Tren, the train, because anytime that Dylan touches the ball, his legs do not stop moving. He is the type of player that even though he might be short, one player is not going to bring him down. If you see any time that Dylan grabs the ball on a carry and he gets tackled, you'll never tackle him backwards. He's always going to get that 1.5 or 2-3 yards on the fall forward. So what makes him special is that he'll always continue to move his legs, continue to gain that yardage because he wants to score.
We've known the name Nico Imaliava since he was in high school out of the California ranks, and now you're starting to see his, all the fruits of his labor really come to fruition. Have you been impressed by him or his growth and acceleration this year? And if so, where does that kind of stack him at next year when you're kind of looking ahead to the NFL draft in 2026 when he's eligible?
Well, again, anytime that you are interviewing any of these players, one of the things that whenever we're calling the game and Fuad and I are looking at Nico, just his humbleness and the way that he carries himself, the way that he represents this university, he is all about his teammates. He is all about his coaches, his maturity on the field. If you see him throughout the whole game, there might be things that go bad, but you'll never see his facial expressions tell you that he is irritated or something like that. So just that maturity that he has on the field at a very young age. I'm speaking as a fan right here with me. Let's say me and Fuad were right here. We are in the hopes that he will continue to stay with us for the remaining of his 4 years. But I mean, I'm sure you guys have watched film. He's got a rocket for an arm. He's accurate on some of those throws that, when he catches Thornton or when he catches, Squirrel White on the run or Brew McCoy, just that arm strength and that accuracy is there. But just the development, the way that he has the relationship with the coaches and the players is special to have seen from that first game that we played against Chattanooga and going into some hostile environments over there when we went to Oklahoma on that home return for Josh Heupel. It was super, super special to see him and to continue to see him develop the way that he is developing.
Carlos, talk more about Heupel and just how he has transformed this program.
Well, I tell you what, this is my first year. This is my first year officially broadcasting all of Tennessee's football games. So I am going to speak for this couple of seconds. As a fan of the past 3 years, it has been a culture change completely here in Knoxville. I'm talking in the aspect of the morale in the community. We want to go to the games. We want to go tailgate. We want to go set up at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's what Josh Heupel has brought. He is the culture that he's bringing to Rocky Top, the coaches that he has planted here. And, I mean, let's not even talk about our athletic director, man, Dr. Daniel White. That man has completely transformed this university. Our chancellor, Donde Plowman, she has been unbelievable. But Josh Heupel and what he's done, and I mean, I know that we talk about various sports. This is sports talk, but you have Rick Barnes and Tony Vitello, baseball winning the national championship. I mean, the way things that are going in Tennessee is unbelievable. And I mean, for me, in the aspect of broadcasting now, for them to give me this opportunity to broadcast this game that we all love so much in a completely different language because they want to expand the brand of Tennessee, that just goes to show you in which direction this university is going.
Carlos Lopez with us here on Sports Talk as we continue. All right, let's wrap it up with this, Carlos. Right now they are 11th in the latest polls. Let's assume that after UTEP and Vanderbilt, they can finish in the top 12 and have a legit shot when the first 12-team playoff comes out. How dangerous are the Volunteers when you look at their type of, their resume and what they're capable of when everything comes together?
Well, you already know that we're dangerous on that defense. We're only, allowing 21, 22 points per game. Not counting that Georgia, and even then, just 31 points in the whole game. So our defense is definitely going to be ready, but it just giving us that opportunity to be in this college football playoffs, that is going to put a chip on the shoulders of all of these men, all of these boys and these young men that are playing, on the coaches, even on me and Fuad. Fuad's already, he's already hyped up about, the possibility of being in the college football playoffs. We're going to be ready. Tennessee's going to be ready. That offense is going to be nothing but fire, and our defense is going to continue to do what they've been doing all year long.
All right, awesome stuff. Hey, listen, we're excited about this. It's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow watching this game. If people want to check you out and listen to part of your call tomorrow from Knoxville, where can they find you?
Absolutely. If you're over there in El Paso and you want to tune into the Spanish broadcast in Espanol, you can download the Tennessee Athletics app on your smartphone or on your tablets. We're also on this station called 99.1, the Sports Animal app. We will also be broadcasting the game in Spanish through there. But if you just happen to be traveling to Tennessee and you want to listen to it, then we're on the WNML AM 990 station right here locally in Knoxville. So
fantastic. Love it. Carlos, what a great story. Awesome stuff. We enjoyed the conversation. Congratulations, and best we could say is enjoy the ride, man, because it sounds like it's been one heck of a ride for you ever since you got into this business.
Man, thank you guys so much for the opportunity to promote the Spanish broadcast down there in El Paso. I wish the team, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're already landed. I think I've seen a couple of pictures that they've already landed. But I wish them the best. I wish my people down there, my Latinos down there in El Paso, Texas, and as always, man, que viva la raza. I love Vamos Vols. It's not just for athletics, but Vamos Vols here in Tennessee is embracing the Hispanic community that we have within not just Tennessee athletics, but the entire state of Tennessee. So thank you guys for the opportunity. God bless. Vamos Vols y arriba Mineros.
You can follow Carlos on Twitter and X at Carlos on the Go 12. That's at Carlos on the Go 12, and looking forward to tomorrow. Should be a lot of fun when he's back on the mics for this battle between the Miners and the Vols. We're going to come back with more in a moment. Sports Talk continues, but first, let's head over to Charlie 1 and get ourselves this traffic update. Back here on Sports Talk, 27 past the hour. Let's go to our pal, Zay Galindo. UTEP Zay's hanging out at Club Memorial, checking out the Miners and Liberty in night one of the CUSA Volleyball Championships. Zay, how are things going right now for the Miners?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Set one just concluded. The Miners took set one 25-18. They really stifled the Flames. They held them to a hitting percentage under 250. And right now, set two is currently going on, and Liberty out to an 8-5 early lead over the Miners. But nonetheless, a good atmosphere. Really, really good job by UTEP and Conference USA putting on such a good tournament, at least day one.
Zay, what are the upgrades like at Club Memorial out at Memorial Gym?
Yeah, they have a few different ones. First off, there's a media room. There's never been a media room here at Memorial Gym, at least not that I have seen or noticed, but they have a really, really nice big Jumbotron. It displays the score. It has video on it. It has stats on it. And then on the other side, there is not another Jumbotron, but there is a new scoreboard, and it looks really nice, really modern all around. It looks really, really nice here in Memorial Gym, and, it was much-needed facelift for this older arena.
Do the scoreboards and the Jumbotrons appear to be permanent as opposed to just being for the tournament?
Yeah, they appear to be permanent. They both have UTEP branding around them.
Nice.
They look really new. So, yeah, I think these are here to stay for the minors.
I love that. I mean, listen, you would have loved to have had that all season, but the fact that they debuted that for the CUSA Volleyball Championships, that's a great, great sign because that just means that Memorial Gym is going to be that much better starting next season.
Yeah, it does. And, there's a plenty of other upgrades, right? They have new, wallpaper around Memorial Gym. They have nice, entrance signs, stuff like it's little things that, as this game will go on and as this weekend will go on, I'll probably notice even more stuff that they've added. It's really just small things, and they're making a really nice difference.
Is there food in the media room, Zay? That's what I think Alberto wants to know right now.
No, sadly, no food in the media room. I think this is a temporary media room because what I'm noticing is this is a classroom. It was a classroom transformed into a media room.
Oh, okay. So they turned it into, it's basically a workroom is what it is. All right.
Yeah, it's basically a workroom.
That's all right. Alberto, you're just going to have to go get nachos like the rest of everybody at the concession stands and go from there. So that's all.
Nachos and some popcorn.
Yep, nachos and popcorn. That's right. All right, Zay, good job. Maybe we'll check back in with you before the end of the show, okay?
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate that. This comes in on the app from 5 Points Guy. Steve, enjoying the extended show. FYI, Scenics open mic night tonight. Well, good stuff, 5 Points Guy. Scenics open mic, good job. And by the way, isn't it kind of sad that he's saying he's enjoying the extended show?
Yeah.
We don't. This is supposed to be the norm. We're supposed to be on till 7, but every day there's been something else that's been going on, which is why we're usually cut off after 2.5 hours.
We would have been cut off after 2 hours if we would have made the trip out to Midland for an extended football Friday night. But, Steve, it may have been for the better. After the first quarter, Del Valle's down 17-0. That's
Yikes.
right. Lovejoy's up 17-0 here to start the second quarter.
That is not what you wanted to see.
No.
But then again, hopefully they can battle back and show a little fight in this one. That would be the way to go.
Yeah, Lovejoy got a sack and scooped and scored. And that you never see that. You never see turnovers from a quarterback like Jake Fetty. He's had a sensational season, but it was a scoop and score by Lovejoy. Then they had an 83-yard drive that was capped off by a 9-yard touchdown run from Ben Adams of Lovejoy. They're up 17-0 according to Felix Chavez of the El Paso Times.
Hey, by the way, I said on the morning show, because I was reading the stadium, it's Astound Broadband Stadium. I saw 2 S's instead of 1, so I called it Asstown, which, by the way, you got to admit, if Midland has a stadium named Asstown, wouldn't that be the greatest place ever to go watch a game?
Oh, man.
We're just going to go. We're going to go to Asstown. And go watch
Asstown Communication.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic.
Oh, man.
Although there's nothing astounding so far with Del Valle's play, that's for sure.
Not at all. And I was expecting more from the Conquistadores tonight in the area round. I know that this is still, a team that could run it back next year and make a similar run, but it would be disappointing to know El Paso teams are out after the area round here for the playoffs.
This came in from Pinky earlier in the show regarding Alberto's shirt. Alberto is not big in stature, so he must get them in the boys section. Is that true, or is Pinky just being, is he just trying to troll you?
He's just trying to troll, but they definitely do fit a little small. So I wish I could have gotten a size bigger, but I'm not going to go asking at Goodwill.
Like what size? What size do you have?
I think they're a size small.
Oh, okay.
But I wasn't going to go to the Goodwill employee and ask, you guys got this in medium?
Yeah, that would be a little tough, yeah. I'm sure. So also, Lucas, Texas, apparently 10 miles east off the Allen, Texas outlets off Highway 75. Thank you, Pinky. Pinky, if anybody would know, it'd be him, right? He travels all over the place.
That's exactly right. And, yeah, that DFW area, good football out there.
Excellent football. All right, a little bit past the bottom of the hour. Let's get one last Sports Center update in the books, and then we'll come back and take you through our final 30 minutes as we go right back to Adrian with the latest.
Thanks, Steve. Back to Memorial Gym. It's UTEP up 13-12 here in the second set. They won the first set 25-18 here over Liberty. We'll continue to give you updates of this one as it continues. Going over to the NBA scoreboard right now, one game going on. Pelicans lead the Warriors right now, 57-54, 2:15 to go in the first half. In this one, Trey Murphy III leading the way, the shooting guard for New Orleans, 15 points. Meanwhile, Andrew Wiggins with 19 for Golden State. The Nets lead the 76ers 66-59. Man, the 76ers 2-12 on the season. This is third quarter action right here. Cam Johnson with 22 points here for Brooklyn. Speaking of the 76ers, Joel Embiid is still managing swelling in his left knee. He will miss Sunday's game, and he is still receiving treatment. That is breaking news coming in from Shams Charania about 10 minutes ago. Also, the Wizards lead the Celtics 59-57. Malcolm Brogdon with 15 points here in the third quarter of that matchup. Bucks on top of the Pacers by 10, 26-16, 2:50 to go in the first quarter. Giannis Antetokounmpo with 11 points here in NBA Cup group play action. Also, the Bulls up by 1 against the Hawks, 26-25, minute 20 to go here in the first quarter. Ayo Dosunmu with 7 points here for the Bulls, leading the way for him. The Rockets on top of the Trailblazers, 26-19, a minute to go in the first quarter of group play action over there. Jalen Green with 9 points to lead the Rockets. Coming up later tonight, 8 o'clock start, Mavericks Nuggets. This one on ESPN. And then 8:30 tip-off between the Kings and the Clippers. Let's look at your SportsCenter update. I'm Adrian Broadus.
Appreciate that, Adrian, as we continue here, 35 now past the hour. I mentioned earlier about Saquon Barkley giving his thoughts on the Giants releasing Daniel Jones, his former quarterback and good buddy. Here's what Saquon had to say earlier today when he met the media.
I'm not going to speak too much on that. I've been in contact with him. Our friendship has stayed close throughout the whole process of me being here. It sucks to see how everything went down for him over there. I got nothing but great things to say about him. I think you're not going to really find anybody that can really say a lot of negative things about him. But it's NFL. Hopefully, wherever he ends up next, they're going to get a guy who can come in and work. And it didn't work for me over there, and I'm doing well over here. And hopefully he can find the same kind of fresh start and success.
So, and by the way, I thought that what Saquon said pretty much echoes what I've heard from everybody in sports about him, is that he is about as good a guy and as hard a worker as you're going to find. Unfortunately, outside of his contract season in New York, he just has not been the kind of starting quarterback, the QB1s, that can lead his team into the postseason.
Yeah, for Danny Dimes, this is the end for him in New York. And, Will Hernandez, UTEP grad, he also spoke very highly of him as well. Like when he talked to us about, playing in New York and some of the former teammates that he had and like his close friends, he considered Daniel Jones one of his close friends, and just shows you that Daniel Jones hasn't really translated his, in the locker room success to the on-field success, but he is a good guy, and it seems like he's loved by a lot of these different players, just like Saquon.
Another update from Midland. Lovejoy took advantage of a Del Valle fumble, added a quarterback run. It is now 24-0. And if Del Valle does not get their offense going soon, their season will come to an end, and Utah and El Paso's high school football season will officially come to an end in the area round of the playoffs.
Wow, and it's an interception for a touchdown now that Felix Chavez is just reporting. 31-0. 30 turnovers for Del Valle.
It's so unlike them.
No, it really is. And this is this is a nightmarish finish for them. No, I don't think anybody would have projected something like this. And for Fetty, Jake Fetty, that is, the Arizona State commit, the 3 turnovers on his side, this is a learning thing. You hope that next year he's able to run it back for his senior season and lead Del Valle back to the playoffs and back to the postseason. This is just a really good team here, Steve. And I'm bummed that they they ran into a brick wall. That's what it looks like right here.
No, it really does. And I feel like sometimes when teams get shell-shocked, they can't recover. And it's almost like Del Valle got hit in the mouth from the outset, and before you know it, the floodgates opened, and it just got worse and worse, at least in the first half.
Lovejoy, I know that they have a strong offense, but just to be able to be relentless this early, I think that speaks a lot to them. This isn't even, we're not at halftime yet, and it's 31-0.
No, you're right. 3 turnovers already, though, for Del Valle is so difficult. So, anyway. All right. Look, we got a lot more in store for you as we continue here on Sports Talk. 38 now past the hour. When we come back, final countdown. We'll check back in with Zay, get one more update on UTEP volleyball as they were in the second set against Liberty last we checked, and then we'll finish strong and get you ready for the weekend. All that and still to come and plenty more, including our Minor Talk preview for tomorrow. That's all right here, 600 ESPN El Paso.